Welcome to the Flannel Tribe Podcast, where we take a deep dive into the music that defined a generation. From the fading echoes of glam metal to the rise of raw and gritty grunge.
Whether you rocked out in high school back then or just curious about this legendary era, join us as we explore the music that made us and maybe still does.
So welcome to the motherfucking podcast, man.
How long did it take to get this off the ground?
I know, I think we're still working on it.
Yeah, a long while. So, Flannel Tribe Podcast, welcome to the show.
To the tribe.
To the tribe.
And we're just doing this first time, never did this shit before, trying to figure it out as we go along. And hopefully all goes well.
Hopefully it's somewhat interesting to listen to.
Yeah, so far it's not. So so we're lifelong friends.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Are we?
Sadly.
Jesus. Did you actually figure out the math? I would literally say the late 80s. So what, like 6th grade, right? So
yeah, so we're like, let's see. You got to be like 11 years old.
yeah, so that would be 1988.
Yeah.
So probably around that time. And then now, which is a lot of years. So we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, definitely a couple of years.
But it's funny because it's music in general that got us together to be friends.
Absolutely.
So I feel like this was only something that was going to happen eventually.
So getting into music, getting into fucking rock music and all that, when did that begin? I mean, I know a lot of it could be used for a later episode.
I'm sure we're going to say a number of things that we'll decide to turn into it.
No, I don't mean you're going to repeat.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, we'll repeat.
Or we're going to use for an episode.
Yeah.
For me, let's see. We didn't get cable until probably 83 or 84. And then once you get cable, then you discover MTV. And MTV was the thing that did it.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think it did it for a lot of us.
So in 83, and you were like, how old? What, 6, 7?
Yeah, 6.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I started watching, I think the first rock band I really took an interest in was Motley Crue. And I think, I don't know if it's a specific video, but I remember my mom getting
your mom.
Yeah, I do too. I remember her getting the Girls tape for me.
Yeah.
And I played the shit out of that. And I really liked that. I thought Wildside was like, well, at that time it was like the heaviest shit I've ever heard. But I didn't know what heavy was. But I know I liked it,
Yeah.
It was.
And of course that, you being a Kiss fan, they kind of represented that. But what? You didn't even know Kiss yet?
No, had no idea. No. I think my brother had a record of theirs. He was not a fan. He wasn't into that shit. But maybe somebody got it for him as a gift.
Yeah.
And that was my introduction to them. But I dismissed it. I didn't know what the hell that was. They had the makeup on. I didn't know anything about that. But then I did see them on MTV. I know it was their Crazy Nights video. So I know it was 1987. And that was what got me into them. And then I went like full on into hard rock, heavy metal, glam metal, whatever you want to call it. I was totally into it.
Yeah.
But that video was just like, couldn't believe it. You watch it now, it's corny, but watching it then and
obviously
Paul Stanley's he's walking out on the crowd and Gene Simmons is doing his fire. All of it is in that video. But I didn't make the connection that band was the same band as the makeup band. I thought they were two different.
Right.
I didn't know that the makeup guys were called Kiss. So I didn't put the connection together until later. But that's what really got me into music. And then I just, I just went like headfirst into the Kiss geekdom.
Mm.
So, I mean, that's how that started.
Right.
So,
which actually I had no idea that your brother had. I didn't know that.
I want to say it was a copy of alive, Kiss Alive. So, but he wouldn't. I don't think he would ever ask for that. So somebody must have gotten him that. Somebody must have gotten him that for a gift.
Right.
And I think I listened to it maybe once as a kid. So I mean, well under 10 years old, probably 7,
Yeah.
8. And I was just like, I think the record was scratched up and it sounded like shit. So I never really bothered with it. But when I'm watching MTV and I saw all those bands and they're all getting the girls and all these guitar players are awesome. They were just like the epitome of cool.
Right.
And that's just how it started. It's like, I gotta do that. I gotta get involved with that somehow,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, on my end, it was definitely fucking different. I had no older brother to, have a Kiss record.
you are the older brother.
Thank God I didn't have an older brother that had a Kiss record. But, but no, it goes back to my mother's brothers being teenagers when I was younger, when I was born. And, they were into definitely a lot of the Southern rock, Allman Brothers, Skinner, and all that shit. And, but when I was little, and I remember it was just breaking kindergarten, so you're about 5, and going to my grandmother's because my uncles were teenagers and they still lived at home. And when we'd go visit, my uncle's like, my nephew's here, let's go, hang out and stuff. And I remember going up to my uncle's room, and he had these big, huge monster stereo speakers on his dresser. And I remember hearing Creedence Clearwater Revival's Fortunate Son. And the opening of that song, it just hit me in my 5-year-old face like, holy shit. Because up to that
was actually your uncle's hand.
But up to that point, it was always, the radio, the stuff in the car, the top 40, pre-yacht rock label. It was all that light rock. It was disco and stuff. And hearing this was like, what the fuck's going on? It just was, I was in awe.
Yeah, Fortunate Son is fucking cool shit. But I had an introduction to disco too. My mom you remember back in the day, those fucking massive stereo systems people would have in their houses?
Oh, yeah.
And it would have it would take records and you could put tapes in it. And ours took an 8-track. My mom had a fucking ABBA 8-track that she would play constantly. So that was a big introduction to music right there, was ABBA. Like them or not. I mean, they're good. They're awesome. But they definitely laid the foundation for a lot of shit too.
Well, after that point, I went home and I wanted to listen to music. I was telling my father, like, I want to listen to music. Like, I need to be fed music. And he ended up busting out these big headphones, kind of like this, with the big curly wire, and plugged it in. Yeah, and plugged it in.
It had the giant,
the big jack.
Yeah.
It was like, ugh. So he took out some records. We had this. It was this weird built-in drawer thing in our living room, and he pulls the drawer open, and there's a bunch of records in there, and it was like records like Three Dog Night,
the Carpenters.
And, I don't know if they were in there, but Bread. It was just like lame ass shit. Some
people like bread.
I'm gluten free today, so. But
geez, that's a topic for a different episode,
a different show. So yeah, he broke out all this shit, and it was like, here's how you load a record. Here's how you put in a cassette tape. And because he was a truck driver, he had a bunch of cassette tapes in his truck, and he went out and got them. And I remember there was like a Beach Boys cassette tape in there, and I don't know if it was like a greatest hits or something, but I was listening to this stuff and it just wasn't giving me what I was looking for in Fortunate Son. It wasn't loud, brash, in your face fucking rock. So
It's right there. You
I
learn the difference between pop and rock.
oh yeah, and I was craving it actually. In '86 Christmas is when I received is when I got a little boom box,
Yeah,
and I got a bunch of cassette tapes. It was Cinderella's Night songs.
there
I
you
got
go.
Tears for Fears songs from the Big Chair, Beastie Boys' License to Ill, Bon
Okay.
Jovi's Slippery When Wet, and Dire Straits' Brothers in Arms. That's what I got that Christmas, all those albums that one Christmas. I think that's about all I got. And a
Really?
bird. We got a fucking bird.
When the hell did you have a bird?
We got a bird. It was named, I named it Freddie. A fucking blue parakeet. A fucking bird. Fucking bird. Anyhow.
How the hell do you remember you got all those cassettes? What year are we talking?
It was definitely Christmas of '86 because Night Songs came out in June of '86, and Slippery When Wet was in August of '86, and December of '86 was Beastie Boys. So MTV was on, and I do remember the No Sleep Till Brooklyn and Fight for Your Right videos. Tears for Fears, Shout was on the radio, and for me to get the Bon Jovi thing, I remember hearing Give Love a Bad Name was on the radio. And it was like,
You
fuck.
Give Love a Bad Name was was one of the songs that I tried to capture off of the radio on cassette from, you remember doing that shit? You like to time it, like the DJ needs to shut the fuck up so I can record this song. But he would talk up the song until the words started. But You Give Love a Bad Name is one of those songs for me. Another one was Sussudio. I had to.
Well, since you're talking about Phil Collins, what was that other dude? Peter Bailey? Was that his name? Or
Phil. It's Phil and Phil.
Oh, Philip Bailey? Is that what his name is? What's that song that they did?
Oh, fuck, you put me on the spot.
Yeah.
And then anyone that's listening is now shouting it at the fucking
right
radio.
So you know what you got to do is you got to email us right now at the Flannel Tribe Podcast at yahoo.com.
Nice.
And let us know what it is. Yes,
no,
it
I
was.
know it. Easy Lover.
There it is. Yep. I don't know why I remember hearing that song on the radio, and there was one night. It must have been soon after I got the boombox. Very excited. That's all that's on my mind.
Phil Bailey. He's from Earth, Wind, and Fire, and Phil Collins is obviously Phil Collins.
I actually had Phil Collins from Genesis. God damn, dude. Yeah, so I had no idea that fucking guy was from Earth, Wind, and Fires.
Just one fire. It's just one fire.
Yeah, so that song, I do remember waking up in the middle of the night and putting fucking FM radio on and putting a blank cassette tape in and recording the radio, and that song came on. That's one song I do remember, and it might also have been like Cyndi Lauper's Time After Time might have come on too. I do know I definitely recorded those two songs off the radio.
I recorded a lot of shit from the radio back then. Man, that's some good fucking. Yeah, that was. What the hell? Oh, we're going to 1989 now, but Martika's Toy Soldiers was another one I took from the radio.
Oh, the jam is fucking great. To this day, it's still great.
It's a really good song.
Well, of course,
what's the first? Here you go. Here's something for you. What's the first? I guess it would be cassette. It was cassette for me. What's the first cassette you bought with your own money? Not your mom bought it.
So I would actually just say the first piece of music I actually bought was Bruce Springsteen's I'm on Fire 45. I bought that shit at Bradley's.
But you bought that with your own money?
Yes, I had like change and stuff. It was like, I think it was like $2.
And you paid with
something
change.
Like that.
Saved your quarter allowance for 2 months.
My mom probably cashed it out for me, but yeah, it was that, and I bought it at Bradley's, and it was on the Columbia label. It was like orange and red, the old 45 labels for Columbia, when Columbia was written in white.
That's you remember some details.
Yep. But yeah, that was it. Because at home, I also actually, before that little Emerson boombox that I received for Christmas, I had a little teeny portable record player, and it had like the whole outside of it. It was like a little teeny suitcase, and the outside of it was like, it was wrapped like a denim wrap on it, and so I listened to a lot of 45s on there, and I actually listened to oh my God, what the hell is it? It was Elvis Presley's, which was my mom's.
King.
Oh yeah, yeah. Elvis Presley's "We Can Make the Morning," and I played it on that little record player at the wrong speed,
So
and it sounded, yeah, like 33.
Yeah, you played it. You played a 45 at 33 and a third.
And I thought it sounded so fucking good that way. I listened to it a lot on that speed.
Wait, it would be slower, wouldn't it?
Yeah. We're gonna make it to the morning after, whatever the fuck he's saying. I can't remember today.
I listened to a lot of records too, but no, the first thing I bought with my own money was Genesis Invisible Touch. The cassette, bought at Kmart. I don't remember how much it was. I'm sure it was probably like $7.99 or something.
Yeah.
I don't even remember.
I wish I could remember the very first actual album I purchased, and really, for the life of me, I have no fucking clue.
For me, it was Genesis, but I did wear out my fair share of 45s, and one of the ones I wore out to death. Now my mom bought him, but it was Falco, Rock Me Amadeus.
Oh my God.
I wore that shit out. I don't know why, but I loved that song. And then
nope.
Yeah. And then the other one was Ghostbusters. I had the 45 for Ghostbusters, Ray Parker Jr.
Yeah.
And I specifically remember, I don't know if you remember any fucking records you used to have that skipped in a certain spot
all the time.
And every time you hear the song, you're expecting it to skip to this day.
I don't know. I honestly, personally don't really know. I didn't really listen to a lot of vinyl except for those 45s. And then a lot of them were in good shape. And then it was straight into radio and cassettes.
Did you ever try to line up a 45 perfect without the insert? You know how you put the little insert in the middle of a 45 and then you put it on the turntable? Did you ever try to line it up perfectly without putting the insert in there?
Yeah, and then it starts going, wow, wow, wow.
It's all fucked up.
Spinning out of place.
Yeah, so Falco, I destroyed that 45. I played that because I remember on the other side, like the B side was just like this weird ass other edit of the song. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And then Ray Parker Jr.'s Ghostbusters, I wore that shit out. And then I ended up getting the full soundtrack on vinyl.
Yeah.
Which you know is a decent soundtrack if you're to that sort of thing.
I don't even know what the fuck else is on that.
Well, Ghostbusters is on it.
Yep.
And there's another song. There's a song from that movie. I don't know who does. Like I don't know anything about it. It's called Magic, and that song's pretty fucking good. Cleaning Up the Town. That was a great song.
My God, you sound horrible,
dude. I think if I look it up, I think that soundtrack sold pretty well.
Yeah, compared to what other shit was released that year.
Oh,
they had no choice.
Everything that came out was 84. You kidding me? Everything was fucking good.
Van Halen's 1984. Of course, that was in 83, I think. Right.
No, 85.
83.
I think that came out in 85.
Well, you better hurry up and giggle that. I thought it was released in 83.
Nah, you're closer than me, but according to the old Google here, It's released January 9th, 1984.
Damn.
So it was recorded in 83.
Yeah.
We know that. How well did that album fucking sell?
Couple of units, not much.
Yeah, well, it's
Actually, that's another video I remember seeing on MTV. Little was Jump.
yeah. Oh my
And-
God, I remember hearing. Now that
Dude.
synthesizer intro.
Mm.
Yeah, I remember hearing that shit when it was new, and I thought it was badass then.
Fucking Alex's kit was enormous, and I think he had all the clear drum shells. I don't know what the set is that he uses.
Ludwig.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying.
You can tell by
So,
the sound that they're Ludwig.
but yeah, it was. I remember that, and then and then just Roth with the jump in, the '80s kick. I think that's where I got the '80s kick from.
You did, because back in the 80s, it was just called the kick.
Yeah. So I did the kick then.
But he was an amazing frontman. So dude, he's he did what he did, and no one else did it quite as well. But yeah, he was good.
I'm fucking sweating. Thank God this camera's not low enough to see the under tit sweat.
Well, when I came home today, I'm like, yeah, fuck no.
Of course, it's fucking hot today.
She had the windows open and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, no, this ain't happening. So I closed everything up, air back on. Bye-bye.
And we're back with the Flannel Tribe podcast. Welcome, everybody. If you missed, you fucking missed. We're going to start second part of this with my balls.
You can't have that in there. Wait, before you you make the cut when you edit it.
With my balls.
What is the what were we talking about? See, it's hard to, I don't want to get too derailed.
I think actually we could probably jump onto something else, because it was all about
I know, but you
what
don't
we
want
were listening to.
Yeah, but you don't want it to sound like, hey, there's a fucking cut right there. After these messages,
we'll be right back.
All right, so I guess I'm just gonna come in. I'm just gonna come in with it.
Yeah.
If you think you might throw up, just go with it.
Imagine fucking barfing all over the screen and the fucking mic, and just continuing.
Acting like nothing fucking happened.
No, just fucking keep going. Fucking do one of these and continue.
Your fucking voice is muffled.
I'm sitting there. It's fucking just.
It'd be even funner if I didn't react at all to it.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
So now we know what you listen to, what I listen to. So how did we end up finding each other in school? Well, everyone in fucking...
At least it wasn't matrimony.
Everyone had a fucking denim jacket, jean jacket, covered, like, not everyone. A lot of people did, though.
I eventually did.
No, you did. You did when
I did. Well, no,
yeah.
not. I did the whole Mother Love Bone, and that was the 90s one in high school I did.
No, even before then.
I don't remember having one when I was younger. I think I always wanted one. I don't remember having one.
Even before then. You had one, and it was, I don't know if it was covered, but you had a Metallica back patch on the back.
I don't recall that. I really don't. I know, like in Hemingway, I had my Cinderella shirt.
You at least had, all right, so you had no, maybe it didn't have a back patch, but maybe you, because you were so artsy, maybe you drew something on it.
Probably.
All I remember was on the back of that jacket, you had written on it Metallica. You had the logo drawn out. I know it was hand drawn with like a Sharpie or something. You had Metallica, and then it said "Kills Them All" underneath, which I thought was kind of a play.
Actually, that does kind of. I kind of do recall that a little bit now.
And I was like, wow, that's creative, because the album "Kill 'Em All" now he writes "Kills Them All." So like, oh, that's kind of cool. So that was one of my first introductions to you, and I think I want to say maybe Guns N' Roses. I think you're a big ass Guns N' Roses fan.
Oh, dude, fucking GNR. I remember being in 6th grade, and it was Christmas, and they were doing the grab bag thing. So you, I don't know, pulled a name or some shit.
That's called Secret Santa.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
So we had to do that, and this kid, well, we'll just go by his nickname we gave him. His name was Jim Crotchhammer. He pulled my name, and he looks over at me, and he goes, "So what do you want me to get you?" I was like,
well, there goes that whole surprise.
Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction. And came down to the whole Secret Santa thing. Bada fucking boom.
That's not much.
Appetite for Destruction. No, but dude, I brought that tape home, and I was listening to it, and there was a point I remember my mom coming upstairs because it was like "You're Crazy" is on.
Y'all fucking crazy, and she's like, "Oh no."
Yeah, no, it was she lost her shit on that one a little bit, but the funny thing, being a huge GNR fan, the very first time I saw Welcome to the Jungle on MTV, I'm like, who the fuck are these assholes? I saw Axl in his hair. I was like, this is fucking stupid. And then a little while later,
unless you deep dive GNR, he never had his hair like that again. Unless you deep,
right.
You go to the, like, before Appetite, then he was doing shit like that.
Right. And then I see Paradise City, and it's got that fucking beautiful intro and all that, and I was like, damn, this is fucking pretty good.
This shit ain't bad.
And I had no idea Welcome to the Jungle and Paradise City was from the same band. I didn't pay attention to that.
Yeah, see, that's probably how I didn't know certain shit was by the same people, but I remember that. That's one of the first things I remember just being huge. Like, everyone was listening. Everyone had it. Everyone was listening to it.
What's funny is, like, my mother and father, my dad was into it. Like, Sweet Child of Mine now. Okay. So, funny little story. So we were at one of my cousin's weddings, and however old I am in 6th grade, of course, I know we mentioned that earlier. 10, 11.
I don't know.
And
whatever year.
We're at the wedding, and my father goes to me, go and tell the DJ to play that song, that Sweet Child of Mine song. So they played it.
It's literally, if it's 6th grade, it's the 80s. Yeah.
No shit. Yeah. It was, so, it was like 87, 88 ish, somewhere right there. So, yeah. So I did that. I go up, and the DJ played it at my cousin's wedding. But then my father, again, being a truck driver, he was going to hit the road. So I had my suitcases full of cassette tapes, all alphabetized, year order of albums, and so on. And my dad wanted to bring the Guns N' Roses album. He says, I want to listen to it on the road. So I give him
the cassette.
Yeah. So I give him Appetite, and I give him Lies.
All right,
he comes home.
Since you said Lies, now you're in 1988.
Yeah. He comes home, and he gives me the tapes back. He goes, what the fuck is this shit? My God.
Did he want them?
Dude, I mean, you listen to side A of Lies, which is, Live Like a Suicide, and that's just brass shit right there.
This is a song about your fucking mother.
And then on the other side, you have One in a Million, so
that's a heartfelt song.
It is actually a badass jam.
You Still Love Her.
Yeah.
Another heartfelt song.
Yeah. But yeah, my father comes home. He almost threw the tapes at me in my bedroom. He said, "What the fuck is this shit?" I think he was waiting to hear all songs sounding like "Sweet Child of Mine."
So how far was his ride? Like cross country? He went cross country just waiting to throw those tapes back at you.
Yeah. Yeah, he was gone for like a good week.
Pissed for a week.
Dude, can't wait. Nope. He probably kept putting them in the tape deck to, rebuild that anger so he don't fucking lose his shit. He says, I'm listening to Harry Chapin. No, wait, let me put that Guns N' Roses thing on again. Yep. Fuck, what did he give me? This is shit.
He's got nitrate. Fuck this.
Oh my God.
It's a great debut record. It's
no shit.
It's probably, there you go. There's a show idea. Debut records, the best ones.
Well,
top 10.
Yeah. Top one. We'll do the top one albums.
Top one debut record. What do you got?
Oh man, I got this. So yeah, I thought that was fucking hilarious. I remember because I was probably in my room, laying on the floor, writing song lyrics or drawing, one of the two, and he comes in. He just threw him down in front of my face on the floor. What the fuck is this shit?
It's rock and roll.
Oh yeah.
What did he think it was going to be? 12 versions of Sweet Child of Mine.
I mean, exactly.
He must have liked Patience.
Hopefully.
It's a great fucking song.
Well, and then you hear Rocket Queen where Axl Rose is banging Steven Adler's girlfriend. That's what that is.
Oh, yeah?
In there. Yep, I heard that one.
Is that confirmed? I never heard that.
Yeah, where? Oh my God, it was on something. I forgot what it's on. But yeah, that's what it was. Axl's banging Adler's Steven Popcorn Adler banging his girlfriend.
Damn, bummer.
Poor girlfriend.
Poor bastard.
Yeah.
Maybe the whole band had her.
Might as well have.
At that point, fuck it. So what, aside from shooting the shit, what is this podcast about?
It's basically about banging your mom and then talking about how bad she was.
Passing her around to the whole band.
Letting everybody know that you can't bang her.
Letting everyone know how bad she was. So there's a period of time when that stuff, well, even with Guns N' Roses kind of changed it a little bit.
What, vegans?
No, not vegans. Because Guns N' Roses is a little darker, not darker, but like...
Yeah, the darker side of town, a little...
dirtier sounding than Bon Jovi would have been.
But honestly, Guns N' Roses has a very Aerosmith sound. Not so much Rolling Stones, but honestly, an Aerosmith sound in the older classic Aerosmith.
Yeah.
Slash has that Joe Perry shit going on.
Yeah.
On Appetite for sure.
Toys in the Attic Aerosmith.
Yeah, that. Even Rock's album, which I like Rock's album. And then when they did the Permanent Vacation tour, Aerosmith pulled GNR out there.
Did they?
As openers, yeah.
I didn't know that. So there's a period of time after that shit when glam metal was the king of the charts. I mean, everything was, you turn on MTV, that's what you get. For the most part.
Right.
And then I think there's a time when people got sick of that sick of that formula, sick of that shit. And newer stuff started coming in. It changed from the 80s to the 90s. And grunge, which was not really called grunge, but that came in.
Right.
And that changed the face of things. And I think that's what we'd like this podcast to focus on is that period from the late 80s to the, because that was actually our high school. Our high school was 91 to 95. That was the
whole crux of our musical lives right there.
That was the time. Well, yeah,
right.
Starting in the 80s and then it changed. Like it or not, it changed. Some of us liked it more than others. I think Tom's on the side of, I think he welcomed the change. And then for me, it was like,
Tom?
That's you. Yeah. For, for me, it was like, all right, certain things came out, and it gave me a feeling like, all right, the party's over. Turn on the house lights. Gone were the songs about banging girls and partying, and then in were the songs about real life stuff and that you normally would use music to escape from. So you either liked it or you didn't like it. But that's what I think I'd like this podcast to focus on. We got a lot of great ideas about show topics and what to do and what to talk about. Like what do you want to get from this podcast, Tom?
All the girls,
Yeah.
and I'm hoping that by the end of each episode, people are throwing chairs.
There's 6. I know 6 girls that you're going to be able to get, no problem.
Yeah, I don't.
Rosie Palm and her 5 sisters.
I walked right the fuck into that sitting down.
Yeah, you did.
I though it seems like a very small subject, I think there's really a lot to it and a lot that people don't remember. The collapse of the hair metal and glam and shit that really wasn't even titled that.
Because, that term, I actually hate that term. I hate that fucking term, hair metal.
I think all the terms are horrible.
Yeah.
Really?
A lot of it sucks,
it was just what it was at the time.
I think that term, that didn't exist. It was just, what did we have? Hard rock, heavy metal.
That was it.
And you wouldn't listen to Poison and say, oh, that's heavy metal. But we would have been like, yeah, that's hard rock. We never would have said that's hair metal.
Right.
We wouldn't have said.
I probably would have said, oh, do you listen poser shit, poser rock?
No, because you loved Poison.
Oh, fucking, yeah, I did.
Calling it hair metal, I think, is a big injustice to the musicians in the band, as if to say the only thing notable about that genre is the way they styled their hairs, and that's their hair. That's not. I feel that's not fair to the musicians who. I mean, there's guitar players that are just, they laid the foundation for a lot of current guitar players. I mean, people like George Lynch and Warren DeMartini and obviously Eddie Van Halen and Bruce Kulick. I don't want to not mention Bruce because he had a big impact on me. And, to say that the most notable thing about that genre is the way they style their hair is kind of shitty, I think. But
right.
That's what it came to be known as. So that's why I usually say glam metal, because they're glammy. I mean, that's what they were. It wasn't metal.
And that term has been around for a while. I mean, you go back to, Bowie and stuff.
Yeah.
You
go to the 70s with the glam stuff.
Yeah. The Dolls and all that stuff. Actually, I gotta find my stockings.
Whatever that is. And then you can go, and then you can mention grunge. That wasn't called grunge. I don't remember it being called grunge.
No.
I remember being in school, and then that stuff came out, and then it was called alternative music, and that's what
right
it was called. It was, I don't know when the term grunge came from, but I guess it had to do with maybe the way they styled their hair.
Hey, fucking, it looked dirty.
It did look dirty. Some of them.
Yeah.
Look at fucking Soul Asylum.
David Perner, I think was his name.
Look at his hair.
Yeah. It's like you haven't washed that since you fucking jumped off the runaway train.
Exactly. I think we'd like to focus on that sort of time period. What happened?
Of hair.
Of the band's
that
hairs.
You lack.
Right.
What are we doing? No.
Well, there's no video.
I remember you had that banging fucking mullet.
I had a mullet. You had a fucking mullet.
Yeah, I did. I know. I definitely did.
Listen, why don't you?
But yeah, you had your fucking mullet because the phone slipped on all our hair.
Why don't you submit a picture, and I'll post it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to dig it out. I wanted to bust out the Swift yearbook, our junior high yearbook, because I know you autographed it, and I gotta find it because I wanted to read on here what you said, and
if I remember.
I don't fucking know where it is. Yeah.
So if I signed the yearbook, that would have been 1991. That's
somewhere there.
that's a show by itself. 1991.
Yeah.
What a massive year that was for releases.
The first concert you and me ever went to, fucking Ace Frehley and his Comets.
That was 92.
I'm just telling you. Your dad dropped us off and went down the street behind Yale and fucking took a nap.
Yeah, I think he did.
Yeah. And we walked down to the parking lot because he had the red car there.
He bought a third ticket for that concert.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, he was going to, because that show was at Toad's Place in New Haven.
Yeah.
He thought he was going to come in and have a beer while we watched the concert.
Oh my God, I think I fucking remember that.
Right, not realizing how ridiculously loud it was in there. And he never actually went in. He never used the ticket. So I still have the unused ticket.
Oh, fucking no shit.
Yeah,
That's where Ace Frehley came out stumbling.
He came stumbling out onto the sidewalk.
No pictures.
No pictures was the only thing he said. No photos. No
There are
photos.
photos, yeah.
Yeah. I happen to have why did I have a picture of him with me? Oh, I think it was either my dad saying to bring it because
you brought something that he autographed.
Yeah, he knew Toad's Place was not that big of a thing. He's like, bring something for him to sign. I said, what do you think? I'm going to meet him? He's like, you never know. It's not that big of a place.
Right.
Sure enough.
Well, actually back then, so your dad went online back then to look up Toad's Place to see.
Toadsplace.com. But it was a rotary dial-up. So, yeah, that's how that happened. Oh, God.
Fraley got in the car and that brown, like 80-something Ford Thunderbird and barreled down the wrong way of York Street.
It was a piece of shit. Whatever he got into was a piece of shit car, and he went the wrong way down the one-way street, just like his song suggests. And he actually did it. And then came back, and that was the best performance I've ever seen from him.
And he, right in front of our faces, he did the guitar solo with the guitar on fire.
Yeah, he did, because we were right up front.
And I was like, dude, I don't like Kiss. No, but actually, and I don't care for it, and that'll probably be an episode. But no, that was cool shit. That it was, I mean, he basically was right in front of our face doing it.
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty cool.
We were very close. The funny thing about him, or liking him or not liking him, is he's your favorite band's favorite band.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Without them, a lot of that shit wouldn't have ever existed. It's definitely cool. So going forward,
because we're not going backwards.
What do you want to get out of the show? Like,
paid. No.
You're not getting paid.
No. I just want to fuck around, joke around, shoot shit. Let it all be.
We kind of do this naturally anyways. We just happen to be recording it now.
Right. And that's because of our brides telling us, hey, you guys got to fucking do something.
No, you guys should do a podcast, breaking our balls constantly.
Yeah, hey, it's a podcast. Of course, my wife doesn't talk like that. She's like, you should do a podcast.
Yeah, that's her voice.
So, yeah, that's usually how she sounds. But yeah, so we're finally doing it. And this is just us, though it's not a Saturday night, but this is just how we always were anyway.
I think
get together, bullshit the music.
Bullshit about music, keep it real casual, and try not to be too stuck up or professional. Just have a good time. I'd love for it to be really interactive if we get, a good chunk of listeners or people that listen to the show.
Chunk.
To not be out of reach, to be like somebody said, hey, you should do, like a comment, hey, you should do a show about this, you should do a show about that, whatever.
Right.
Vote, maybe do voting on something.
I mean, absolutely. Take it into consideration for sure.
Yeah, I would just prefer to be hands-on with anybody that's kind enough to give it a listen.
Just don't touch them. We can't touch today.
All right.
Hands-on.
Hands
on with somebody.
Hands near.
I'm going to be hands near with somebody, that suggests.
So is it a nostalgia show?
It's a nostalgia show about shit that's happened and not happened.
How do you talk about something that hasn't happened?
Because you and me, we're going to probably share information that we didn't realize, just like you didn't realize whatever the hell I said earlier.
That's true.
GNR went out with Aerosmith on a permanent vacation tour. They were only out for like 6 months or something like that, and then I don't know, I don't know if it didn't go well or some shit, and they were off. But
I actually didn't know that.
See, so it's shit that did and didn't happen.
Well, it happened. I just didn't know about it.
Yeah. All right. So this is the beginning of the end, or however you want to say it.
The beginning of the end. This is the end of the beginning
of the end. So you're just trying to figure out how to sign off and shit. Hey, this is the first episode. We're in the novice stage.
We're new at all this shit, and
very new.
Anybody that's nice enough to listen, we're gonna learn as we go.
Right.
So,
and as we get more famous, we're gonna fucking forget the little people.
We're gonna bang your mom and tell everyone how bad she was.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, that's I don't know.
I don't know how you supposed to wrap it up.
Thank you for listening to the shit show debauchery.
Debauchery. Is it debauchery or No, it's not debauchery, but debauchery. Or
the crap.
The shit.
Yeah.
Well, anyone that listened, thank you very much. We're learning as we go, and it'll I can't promise it'll get any better.
No, and I'm thinking it's not.
Yeah, so
by any means, nope.
If you're here, thanks.
If you're not, thanks.
If you're not, thanks. Yeah. We'll see you next episode when we talk about. Actually, we actually have no idea what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, we have zero clue. We are going to work on that.
Hopefully, you're either interested in it or have been there or want to share a story or remember when that shit unfolded.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, then. Stay classy. Thanks.
Take it sleazy.
Shake it easy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. See ya.
All right. Later.